What's going on, guys? It's the Crypto Lark here. Today we're going to be talking about Eternity. So we're going to be talking about what Eternity is, what the problems they're trying to solve are, who the competition is, what the price is like, all that fun stuff. After a quick shout out to everyone who has been hitting the like button and subscribing down below to the channel, guys. I really appreciate everyone's support for my channel. You guys keep supporting me. I'm going to keep making awesome videos for you guys. And of course, quick disclaimer, this is not professional financial advice. This is just one dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet, guys. Let's get into it. Now, Eternity, currently at 34 cents, has recently, only very recently, hit the market. So it only got listed back on the 8th of September, so it's relatively newcomer to the scene. Of course, they had their ICO a bit earlier in the year. So let's actually look and see, what is Eternity trying to do? By the way, isn't this the background for Verge, by the way? I swear to God, this is. They have the mountains and the clouds. It's a very popular kind of theme in the blockchain world, isn't it? So, what is Eternity trying to do? They want to solve the problems of some of the current smart contract platforms. So governance, scalability, cheapness, safety. Although, to be fair, for example, Ethereum is already solving those problems for itself. You know, the Raiden network's going to bring mass scalability to Ethereum, hopefully lower the costs of transactions as well. So, you know, is there a need for another player in the smart contract platform net area? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to have a look at it regardless. So, why does Eternity think that it is so innovative? One of its main features comes down to state channels. You might think, well, what are you talking about here, Lark? Well, basically, a lot of the transacting that happens on Eternity will take place actually off state instead of on state, so that instead of having everything go through the blockchain, a lot of stuff can actually take place off of the blockchain, so it'll be in the off-state channels. So, you know, for example, if two companies are simply transacting information, we don't actually need that registered on the blockchain. Now, if they want to exchange money, or there is a dispute in the process, well, then we can put it on the blockchain and it'll be useful at that point. But it doesn't all need to happen on the blockchain, and they're thinking that by doing this, they'll be able to increase the speed, increase, you know, thus the scalability. Now, they're also offering something called decentralized oracles. So the oracles basically let you decentralize external data and use real-world data with the smart contracts. It's an interesting idea. I like it. I like the idea that they're bringing this extra layer of data into their platform. Now, if we talk about consensus, they've got proof of work and proof of stake algorithm. Now, the proof of work is designed to be ASIC resistant. You see, and this is quite a popular theme these days, the ASIC resistant proof of work algorithm. They want this to be able, so you can mine it on your smartphone if you want to, so that they can have a very extensive network instead of course, what has happened with Bitcoin, where we have massive corporate players who are the ones who are doing all the Bitcoin transactions these days, mining all the new blocks, of course. Now, what will the proof of work actually be doing? Of course, they'll be mining the blocks and issuing the Aeon coin, but they'll also, you know, be processing the questions for the oracle. Fees will be adjusted at each block as well. And of course, we do have a proof of stake option here also. Okay. And of course, I really do also recommend you guys come over here and have a look at their website. It is quite nice. It's a bit, they got a bit bloated with the graphics going on in the background, but nevertheless, come over here and have a look. You know, you can look at, for example, the governance features as well. Now, one other thing, I guess, with the off-state chains is the option for having things being a little more private, so that everything is not simply readable on the blockchain. That is one big bonus as well to those off-state chains. Okay, moving on. Now you can come and have a read of the white paper too if you want, by the way. I had a good read through it, and it's pretty interesting actually. They really go into a lot of depth and give some pretty interesting ideas here really about how the whole system is going to be working. Like I said, do come over and have a read, but for most people, I think actually simply going to the website, having a browse through will give you the information in a much more layman's terms kind of way, to be honest. But, for everyone who's interested in a little more depth, do come and check out this white paper. It is pretty interesting, actually. So, what's the ecosystem going to include? They're going to have an incubator foundation. Of course, looking to find people who will build projects on their platform. That's, of course, really, really important, because if nobody adapts Eternity, I don't care how good of an idea that it is, if nobody uses it, it won't have any value. And, of course, they want to have apps, Eternity apps. Obviously, apps are a huge, huge part of the whole space at the moment. So, again, this requires that incubator foundation. It requires people to actually go out, be found, and get them to come and use this platform in order to create those apps. Otherwise, again, there won't be any value to the platform because no one's using it. That's important. They're looking at web browser integration, mobile first approach. Now those are both good things, and I like both of those because mobile obviously is the way of the future, and it's where a lot of this stuff is going to be happening. People all across Africa and Asia and different parts of, South Asia, for example, as well. People don't actually have laptops, but they do have mobile phones. So if we can reach people that way, that's great. I do like that. That's nice. That is, of course, one of the biggest growing spaces in the crypto space and smart contract platform space right now is, of course, mobile apps. Okay. Now they're also going to be focusing on education, obviously, again, trying to, get people doing developer workshops, tutorials, teaching people how to do apps on Eternity. Obviously, again, this is very, very important, all of this. Now, they are based out of the Principality of Liechtenstein. That is great. We all like that. And, of course, again, they're looking for bringing in partnerships. Again, this is what it all depends on. Currently, they don't really have much of anything going in the terms of partnerships and in the terms of, apps that have been built using their platform, at least nothing that they're talking about actively. So we do need to keep an eye out for those things to come forward. They will. I am absolutely certain that they will, but, right now it's not like Ethereum, which has countless ICOs and things which have been processed through it. We're going to skip over the roadmap here for a minute and actually come down here to some of the use cases. Some of the use cases of Eternity. So there are a lot of things that they are aiming to do. So proof of existence for data. So that for example, say I've got some data and I want to sell it to you. Now you as the buyer aren't sure that I have that data, but I can have that verified with this proof of existence. So I can put in something that says, yes, this data exists. There's proof of this data existing. So you can then go verify that on the blockchain and feel secure that in our transaction, you'll actually get what you're supposed to be getting. So that's nice. Okay. So next we got crowdfunding. Obviously, a lot of people are getting into that space. So that space is a bit crowded. I would be curious to see how they, look at competing with not only Kickstarter, which is, of course, big name but very centralized, but all the other guys who are coming out with crowdfunding, decentralized crowdfunding on the blockchain stuff, right? It's a crowded space already, but I appreciate that they're trying to get into it. Atomic swaps, they do want to get involved in that. Of course, we've been talking a lot about atomic swaps in the last week. Insurance, so this is an interesting one. They do want to get involved in insurance, so you can do peer-to-peer insurance. Very interesting. Whistleblowing, it's an interesting use case as well. If you want to bet on whistleblowers, so to speak, it's an interesting concept. Prediction markets, decentralization. Whoa. really want to focus on making this whole experience user-friendly, which is one of the big things that they are focusing on. And of course, a lot of this stuff is only theoretical at the moment. We have to actually see some of these things be rolled out. And of course, micro and nano payments, a lot of that, of course, will be aided by the fact that most of the stuff that's happening on the Aeternity platform will not be happening on the blockchain, so the blockchain itself should not be too bloated and therefore should be able to take care of all these micro and nano payments, which they would like to take care of. So, and of course, they want to do something called toll APIs. Interesting. So basically, they want to incentivize the owners to make private data public by letting people pay for that data. Well, that's an interesting concept as well. I think it's, again, a lot of nice ideas here that add value. But of course, are they trying to do too much at the same time? That's an interesting question to ask, and it's something that, of course, you know, time will tell if they're trying to do too much or not. Obviously, you know, such a criticism could have been leveled against Ethereum before they came out, or even EOS now. Are you trying to do too much? Well, maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of this stuff will be done not by, of course, their development team, but by people who are working on this platform, developing apps using Eternity, developing you know, smart contracts using Eternity, and so on and so forth. So maybe, why not? Now, if we have a look here at the team, we've got this guy, Yanislav Malahov, sorry for butchering your name, Yanislav. So, Yanislav is, where is it at? The self-described godfather of Ethereum. Now, you might think, what the hell are you talking about, Lark? Apparently, Yanislav and Vitalik were both kind of working in the same place at the same time, or having those kind of conversations. And of course, you know, then very shortly thereafter, Vitalik came out with Ethereum. So he was kind of there at the incubation of that, although he was working on a different project at the same time. So obviously, you know, Yanislav then thought, well, I've missed the boat on Ethereum, but, you know, maybe I can do my own thing moving forward as well, and maybe even make something better than Ethereum. And I think, in a way, that's what Eternity wants to be. It wants to be, you know, Ethereum 2.0, or whatever we might want to call it, right? But it's essentially another smart contract platform that is trying to, you know, compete in that space with Ethereum. Of course, they have got a lot to deal with when it comes to that, because Ethereum is a gigantic monster. Okay, one other thing we did want to have a quick peek at before we move on is the roadmap. So they have got, that is so bloated. They want to build some essential apps, get some security audit coming, and of course the mainnet is launching in the first quarter of 2018. We're going to close that page out there. Holy cow. Of course, you guys can come over here and follow Yanislav on Twitter if you would like to. He hasn't had a whole lot going on his Twitter page. I'd like to see a little bit more. Of course, oh, nice. That's quite recent. I started researching this the other day. So the actual Eternity page is, they got a little bit going on as well. So come over here and follow along. I only got 7,000 followers. It's a small following, but you know, we're gonna make sure I get followed there as well and stay up to date with the news on Eternity. Okay. Now, of course, one of the big things you do need to think about here when we're thinking about Eternity is who are the competition, and are they doing it better? And if they're not doing it better, then can Eternity do it better? Well, we have a lot of competitors in the smart contract platform space at the moment, to be honest. EOS, of course, is still like 9 months from finishing their ICO. Those crazy guys, they're going to raise $1 billion. I tell you, by the time they're done with this. Anyway, EOS is still going. They will be a, you know, a platform for decentralized apps and all the rest of it. So, but again, they're so far away from actually coming out that yes, it will be future competition, but no, they're not current competition. So even though yes, it is a competitor, it's not a competitor today. Obviously, the competitor we have to talk about and think about most of all is Ethereum. Now, it's amazing. Ethereum has such name recognition now and is first to market and all these things, that doesn't mean that there's not space for other players in the market. Look, we've reviewed on this channel a lot of different decentralized app platforms and smart contract platforms and all the rest of it. Obviously, Ethereum is the big one, and it will probably be the household name moving forward. And I'm sorry when it comes to it, the fact is that first to market does mean a lot. That doesn't say that Eternity doesn't have a lot to offer. They've got a very well thought out package that's aiming to do a lot and aiming to do some things even better than Ethereum. For example, the off-state transactions versus the on-state transactions. Okay, that's cool. But again, when Ethereum has the full sort of upgrades from Raiden, it might not matter so much anymore. That's something to keep in mind. Now, of course, there's other competitors in the space as mentioned. For example, Rise. They're also doing decentralized apps and smart contracts and delegate proof of stake, and all those fun kind of things that we might like in a smart contract platform. Now, if you want to look at this as an investment tool, we do have to remember that Eternity is not necessarily revolutionizing the space. They are bringing some new things to the table, but it's not a game changer, right? Ethereum was a game changer. Eternity wants to get in the game. So let's keep that in mind here. That being said, is Eternity a good investment? Well, I think so. I think they've got the right people involved on the team. I think they've got the right tech behind it, the right ideas. They're aiming to, get involved in the right places in the market. Again, crowdfunding, insurance, whistleblowing, prediction markets, data markets, smart contracts, etc., etc. That all has a lot of value. And so to see them only at $80 million for a market cap right now is very, very low. To give you some perspective, that is 350 times less than the value of Ethereum. 350 times less. I want to repeat that because that's a huge number. A huge, huge scale down, considering that Eternity would like to compete in that same space. So if we look at some other competitors in the space, obviously, for example, I did mention Rise, but Rise is currently valued at much less than Eternity. Even though Rise has been around for quite a bit longer, Rise is, working on gaining that traction. Now, if we look here as well, for example, EOS over here has got approximately 3 times the value right now of Eternity, and it's, still as in an ICO phase. EOS, that crazy project. Obviously, some other big players, Lisk and Stratus and, Dapps and smart contracts and all that stuff are very, very popular. So if it can even get to the value of something like Lisk, for example, let's just take that as an example, currently at $665 million. If it can even get up to there, that's a 10 times increase in value. So there's a lot of space for Eternity to grow moving forward, but again, it does absolutely require people to start using it. And you have to ask yourself the question, what is the incentive to use Eternity over Ethereum or any of the other players which are already occupying that same space? I don't know. That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. Anyway, guys, what do you think about Eternity? Is this something that you're going to get invested into? I like it. I like Eternity a lot. I think they've definitely got a lot of room to move forward, to pick up a massive market cap moving forward. But again, it does require people to actually use it. It's not one that I'm going to invest in, not because I don't like it, but because just don't have the money to invest in it right now, which is fine, But, are you guys invested in it? Let me know. Hit me up in the comment section down below. I'd be curious, as always, to know how you guys feel about this one. And of course, if I missed anything really, really important in my talk, hit me up down below, and we'll add that into the comment section or something later on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.